glass of water halfway through because I've just suddenly developed a tickly cough. Comrades, we're at a critical moment for workers' rights in our country after over 14 years of austerity and our rights, as we know, being systematically stripped back. We have got an opportunity for change, as has already been mentioned, and I know there is mixed feelings in our movement around just how much change we will have under this particular Labour government. And you know, it'll be interesting to see who attends Congress this week and what they've got to say to us in the room. But what is clear from the election in May and what it showed us was that the issues in our workplaces and our communities are still there. They've not disappeared overnight just because we've got a new government, despite I think that being some people's understanding of what would happen. And you know, seeing 5 Reform MPs be elected into Parliament, the recent riots that have happened, that have been mentioned, and hearing rumours in the last couple of weeks that Reform are looking to be billed in the local elections in May should be more of a concern to us as a movement than what Star was going to do or not do in the first 100 days. Because people are disconnected from politics and they're not looking to the trade union movement for answers. They're looking to people like Reform and the fascists and the right wing because they're bringing them in and pulling them in, which is something that, for whatever reason, we're not doing. And that should be more of a concern to us, I think. Our union conducted a survey prior to the election to understand, you know, the main concerns and the priorities of our members. And the answers highlighted the urgent need, as won't be a surprise to anybody in this room, for political and economic transformation. And whilst many in our communities, as has already been mentioned, that's the problem with coming further down the line, points have already been raised, but whilst many in our communities would argue there's no difference in the main political parties, and that's what actually is the point in politics as a result, we know that the issues that our members face, who are determined to see change, are not unique to the food industry, but reflect broader societal challenges. The cost of living crisis being the key thing that was raised throughout the survey results, which makes it difficult for families to afford basic necessities like food, energy and housing. And it's a crisis in our industry that has been compounded by low pay, poor management practices and insecure working conditions. Our members are working in workplaces where they're grappling not only with low wages but with bullying management styles, with unsafe working conditions and insufficient staffing. They're asked to do more with less and often under the strain of unsociable hours and insecure contracts. We've seen this boom in the rise of 0 hours. And our survey result clearly outlined what our members believed was necessary to address these challenges, not only for them, but for everybody in society. We called it the Baker's Dozen Manifesto asks, and whilst we've got a new government, we are still clear these are the demands that we want to change to make things better. So £15 an hour minimum wage, because every worker deserves a living wage regardless of age. We'd call for the youth rate to be removed as well. And it will end the unfair youth limit on national minimum wage, because you know, I was a teenage mum at 17, I didn't get a discount on nappies for my son. Why should I have been given a discounted hourly rate? It's just not fair. Abolish 0 hours contracts, and these are all 0 hours contracts, not just these nice term exploitative ones, because what we have seen in the last couple of years is every 0 hours contract can be exploitative. Full employment rights from day one, because all workers should have their rights protected from the moment they start the job. There should not be a waiting list and a waiting days. Contractual sick pay at 100%, and we're saying that employers must provide this for 6 weeks at least, and then look at significantly raising statutory sick pay therefore afterwards. As Steve's just mentioned, repeal anti-trade union legislation, because we need the freedom to organise and advocate without restrictive laws. A maximum workplace temperature, we've got a motion on that this week at Congress, because we need legislation to ensure that working conditions are safe and comfortable. Yeah. Accountability for company failures. We have seen far too many rich employers that have evaded the financial responsibilities by going into administration, and then they pop up elsewhere with a new company under a new name with new directors, and our members are the ones that are literally starving as a result, being plunged into poverty, waiting for the benefits to see them through. Public ownership of utilities, that goes without saying, and that should be for everything. I'm not necessarily sure we'd go as far as Greg's, but there has been suggestions that Greg's should be public owned too. A right to food, and it's a motion that we're going to be supporting this week as well, a statutory right to food, free school meals, and a cap on supermarket profits. Because, you know, it wouldn't be so bad if workers in Tesco were on £30 an hour, but they're not, are they? They're still on minimum wage, yet supermarkets are making billions and putting such pressure on the supply chains that they're closing or going under. Affordable public transport, we need to renationalise train companies, cap bus fares and provide free public transport for young people aged 16 to 25. End arms sales to Israel. You know, I was so proud that that was one of the things that our members were telling us they were clear, they had a stance on. We've got to take a stand for human rights and justice globally. Abolish tuition fees, because education should be accessible to all. Finances should not be a barrier to be able to progress and improve yourself. And bring back a new and improved version of the Union Learn Fund in England, so everybody's got that opportunity to upskill and develop themselves. And lastly, create a national care service. Providing dignity and care for elderly and vulnerable is a societal duty for everybody, and that should be from cradle to grave. These demands are not just aspirations of our members, they're essential changes that will improve the lives of everybody. We've got to step up our organising and educating as well, though, so that we can mobilise those who hold, we can mobilise to hold those in power accountable. Just because it's now the Labour Party does not mean that we can rest on our laurels. Too many in our movement will want to sit and wait and give them a chance and see what happens. But we've not got time to wait. People are literally dying and have been doing for years. They're going hungry, they're falling further into debt and looking down the barrel of another bitterly cold winter. In the wake of the election, we have got to send a clear message to these newly elected representatives. We're not going to accept empty promises or half measures. We demand real change and will not rest until we see it. And if that means marching outside Parliament because the manifesto commitments have not been upheld, then we must absolutely be marching outside Parliament. Because if the Labour Party do not support the working class, then the working class must treat it like every other political party that doesn't support the working class. As a movement together, we must build a future where every worker is treated with dignity, respect and fairness. We can't rely on the politicians to do that. We've got to do it ourselves, us in this room and our members more widely. We've got to push out the far right and stop Reform gaining any more ground. But to do that, we've got to be able to do our jobs as trade unionists, have access to workers and work together across the movement, challenging the rights rhetoric and showing people that we're the ones that will support them and advocate for them, not Farage, the ASLEF and the fascist mates, us. Thank you to the National Shop Stewards Network for everything you do to support our movement. Enjoy Congress, and I'm sure I'll see you about at one or two other fringes.